actually do not know how I feel about this because this upcoming event that's coming to Pokemon Go is going to be featuring some new Pokemon that you will only be able to get from raid battles. However, they are also regional Pokemon and they're going to be adding a lot of value for a particular region, and I also feel like this is actually pretty exciting stuff. Alright, what's happening everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video, and I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So we are going to be getting a new event in Pokemon Go, and it is going to be featuring the Pokemon Paldean Tauros. Now something you need to know regarding this one Pokemon is that it comes in many forms, and to get those forms, you're going to need to raid for it in various regions. Unfortunately, they're not going to be releasing this Pokemon in the wild, but considering that it does come in various forms, it actually does make sense for them to include it in raids, so that way that you could talk to your friends from different parts of the world and get raid invites, and you'll be able to collect all of the various forms of this one Pokemon. And then on top of that, they're also going to be giving players Marshadow. If you did not attend Pokemon Go Fest of last year, you will now finally be able to get this mythical Pokemon. And I think there's a lot of different thoughts regarding that particular thing with this event, because there's going to be players out there who are really excited about finally getting themselves this mythical Pokemon. And then there's other players out there who attended Pokemon Go Fest last year who are going to be disappointed at the fact that they're not going to be able to get a second one. So if the Marshadow that they got last year was low IVs, unfortunately, they're going to be stuck with that Pokemon for the time being. But yeah, aside from that, let's go over all the details for this event, and then afterwards, let me share some of my thoughts regarding it. The Stunning Styles event is going to start on April 3rd at 10 o'clock AM local time, and it's going to go until April 7th at 8 o'clock PM local time. Now, the featured Pokemon for this event is going to be the various forms of Paldean Tauros. Yes, it's going to be making its debut during this event, but the way that you get each of these different forms of Paldean Tauros are going to be something that is going to rub some players the wrong way. Now, let's talk about the event bonuses which you can enjoy during this event. You're going to get 2 times the amount of experience when you catch Pokemon, and you're going to have an increased chance to encounter shiny Shellos, and that's actually pretty cool. It's going to be region locked as it usually is, but you will be able to encounter more shinies of this Pokemon. And then, this is actually pretty big, there's going to be a free special research story that's going to award you with the mythical Pokemon Marshadow. So if you did not attend Pokemon Go Fest of 2024, now is your chance to pick up this Pokemon. And if you've already completed the special research from Pokemon Go Fest, then you're not going to be able to get yourself a second Marshadow, unfortunately, but they will give you a whole bunch of Marshadow candy instead. Next up, let's talk about the raiding content for this event. So, in the Western Hemisphere, you're going to get the pink Shellos, and then in the Eastern Hemisphere, you're going to see the blue Shellos. If you want shinies for both of these Pokemon, then you will need to use remote raid passes. And then spawning everywhere in 1-star raids, you're going to have both Esper and Rockruff, and then in 3-star raids, we're going to have the 3 various forms of Paldean Tauros, and they're all going to be dependent on whichever region you're raiding from. Now, in the Iberian Peninsula, which consists of Portugal and Spain, you're going to come across Paldean Tauros with the combat breed form. And this is actually going to be basically a regional for this region. So if you want this particular version of Paldean Tauros, you will need to befriend anyone from the Iberian Peninsula and hope that they give you raid invites to this one particular Pokemon. I do think this is going to be the highest priority for pretty much every single player, considering how unique this version of Paldean Tauros is going to be. Now, if you live in the Eastern Hemisphere, you're going to come across the Blaze breed version of Paldean Tauros, and then in the Western Hemisphere, you're going to come across the Aqua breed version of Paldean Tauros. And then everywhere, you're going to see Decidueye as well as Hisuian Decidueye. Next, let's talk about the wild encounters during this event. They're going to include Castform with its various forms, and the shiny versions of these Pokemon are also going to be available, along with Burmy and all of its various forms, those are all going to be available in the wild during this event. Next up, let's talk about a timed research which is going to be available to everyone. You're going to get 10 Kubfu candy during this research, as well as encounters with event-themed Pokemon. And then after you complete this timed research, you're going to unlock 2 bonuses which are going to last for the remainder of the event. They include getting 1 additional candy when you catch Pokemon, as well as having an increased chance at getting Candy XL when you successfully catch Pokemon if you are a trainer level 31 and up. There's also, of course, going to be Pokestop showcases, as well as field research task rewards that are going to be themed around this event. You do not want to ignore them because they're going to be a great way for you to pick up some really good items. And then finally, there's going to be a paid time to research during this event. It's going to give you 4 premium raid passes, 1 lucky egg, 1 star piece, as well as encounters with both West Sea Shallows as well as East Sea Shallows. Yeah, if you want to get yourself either of these Shallows Pokemon, then maybe you could purchase this paid timed research, but based on the price that I've seen, it may not necessarily be worth it, so do keep that in mind. So yeah, honestly, I'm really torn by this because, for on the one hand, I'm really excited that we're getting the various forms of Paldean Tauros, and I think it's going to be really cool that we can get those different versions depending on where you raid for it in the world, and I'm totally okay with that. I really like the idea of there being region-locked Pokemon that you can still obtain from raid battles. But on the other hand, of course, this is a new Pokemon that's, once again, locked behind premium content. But I kind of want to say that this is a bit of an exception. I think that for Paldean Tauros, it's a bit of a special case considering its various forms, and I like the idea of there being a regional Pokemon that's specific to Spain and Portugal. I think that's actually really cool. And also, they're going to be giving players something that's going to be completely free, and it's a value, and that is, of course, Marshadow. I think that can't be ignored because for a lot of players, they've been waiting to get this Pokemon if they did not participate in Pokemon Go Fest, and I think for a lot of those players, it's about time that they picked up this mythical Pokemon. And then ultimately, I feel like this is just their way of continuing their model of any kind of mythical that you purchase from a ticket is essentially early access. You know, that's really what it comes down to. I think a lot of players are saying that it's a little bit frustrating that they're not going to be able to pick up a second Marshadow, and that's totally understandable. Mainly because when it comes to this game, IVs are always going to be very random. You may not necessarily get the IVs that you want for a Pokemon that you only have 1 shot of. And that could change in the future with the introduction of bottle caps, which we recently found out is actually in the game code. So yeah, ultimately, I think this event is pretty good. I think the fact that they're releasing Paldean Tauros into the game is pretty cool. And of course, with the introduction of Marshadow for anyone who did not attend Pokemon Go Fest, that is also really cool. So I'll say this is a big win. I think this is actually going to be a pretty decent event, but I'm sure there's going to be players out there who are going to disagree with me. And if that happens to be you, I would love to know your opinions, so make sure you share them in the comments section down below. And hopefully, yeah, we can have a friendly, nice discussion regarding this event. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of it. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the absolute best way you can do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you decide to become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, opening and sending gifts, different things like that. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you're always welcome to do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on the bottom of your screen, and make sure you go over there and give me a follow. And with all that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.
진솔아와 함께해